Now I'm going to show you some examples of different VRI prescriptions that we've applied. A lot of these come from actual growers we're working with. They're the ones that kind of came up with using this tool or working with our VRI specialists, ideas they had to how would I address that variability in season using the tools and the control. This one here, this is basically what we call a wiper VRI prescription. A lot of you guys that have half circle machines, what we can do with this technology very easily is we can still write a basic variable rate irrigation prescription using our speed control, but we can tailor it so at the tail ends here, before you make your turns, we can actually gradually speed in and gradually speed out of that turn. Again, allowing you to apply not necessarily more uniformly, but more exact to how much water you want to put down in a given sector. So this is real simple to do, and we do a lot of this. And I think down here, that's a great application just in terms of getting your water application optimal for how this machine is going to operate. So that's a wiper prescription. This one here, this is what this is using our landscape change data. So when we collect the RTK elevation data, we then can process that into what's called a landscape change GIS layer. Now, this isn't elevation. What landscape change basically says is the red areas here would be low landscape change values. So those would be areas, low spots in the field, moving up to your level ground in the yellow, and then to your high spots in the blue. So it's basically a degree of change from level ground, either rise or fall. So what we've done here is we said, okay, we're going to write a base prescription based on our EC soil type, but then we're going to further adjust that prescription to target more water, say to the high ground. And again, it's really up to you in terms of your strategy. I'm simply demonstrating with our tools how we can adjust these prescriptions again, to address, in this case, topography variability. And in a lot of cases, that topography doesn't even have to be much. Even small gradual changes can be addressed with the software, and we can slightly manage our water more or less to an area of the field based on is that a high spot or a low spot. And again, it's all automated by the software. This prescription took me about 30 seconds to generate. So that's a landscape change. This one here, I thought this was pretty neat. This was a grower out of southwest Kansas who was using our software, our technology, and basically he kind of came up with this idea, and he says, well, I have a soil moisture probe out in my field. It's in my majority soil type, so I'm using that to watch how much rainfall fills that profile and how much I need to adjust my schedule. And basically, in his thinking, he said, I'm going to do one of two things if I get a rain event. And of course, he's tracking that rain very closely. And he says, well, I could shut down the pivot and basically let the crop use up that good rainwater, be able to reduce my pumping costs a little bit, maybe shut down for a day or so. The problem with that is he has concerns about obviously getting stuck, and he has concerns about maybe getting a little bit behind on his water. Or he could keep it running. Well, the problem with keeping it running in the rain is if that sprinkler's running through this part of the field and you just got a 3/4 inch rain, chances are you're going to be running water off this field. So he says, well, I don't really want to irrigate this part of the field. So he came up with this prescription that he coined a rain VRI prescription. Basically what he says is, I'm going to have this in the queue. It's going to be ready to go. I get that rain event. I see it in the soil moisture data. He's going to switch, and he's going to run this prescription that says, just target water to my driest soils and go 100% or even reverse, but go 100% through my heavy soils. No sense irrigating to the ground that's going to hold that water, move all my water to those dry soils that's not going to hold that rainwater, and do that for one rotation. This is real-time management, and again, he could write this in about a minute, and he could wirelessly upload it right out to the controller, all in about 2 minutes. Again, what it gave him is the ability to say, let's take advantage of that rain, let's keep the pivot running, it won't get stuck, and let's target our water. So that's been great, and a lot of guys use this when applicable. So that's a response. Again, that's a response to a climate variable. So this one here, same thing applies. You got, say, a basic prescription you're running. And actually, this was the same grower that came up with this one as well. He said he went out to his field, and he could see, kind of on the southwest edge of the field, that his crop was burning up. It's getting high stress, wind exposure, a lot of that down here. And he thought to himself, well, I don't want to lose this part of the field. What can I do about it? Well, I could throw more water at it. Now, without variable rate, he would have to slow down the whole machine, and it would throw everything off. What he was able to do is still keep his VRI prescription, but then he visually just kind of observed in degrees, where is this happening in the field? He goes back to the software. He generates a prescription that says, run my normal VRI, but when I get to this point, slow down. Hit that edge with more water and see if I can't bring that back. And sure enough, what he told me was he was able to save this part of his field, where in a traditional year, he would have lost it. So that's what we call a wind VRI prescription. This one here, another service we provide through a company called RapidEye is satellite imagery. Again, CropMetrics, we process data. We have a partnership with RapidEye. It's a company out of Germany where we will basically collect and process infrared imagery that we can create what's called an NDVI, non-differentiated vegetative index image of that field at a 5-meter resolution. And what this really tells us is real time, how is the crop performing? Not focusing on the soil or the topography, but the actual plants themselves. And this gives us a pretty good idea. The dark green areas would be our high NDVI values, showing good plant vigor. Plants are doing pretty good over here, and the red areas are where we're seeing stress. Now, as we start to stack our layers, this might be an opportunity to say, well, is this part of the field, can I do anything about it? I know now where it is. I know exactly what's happening. I know the degree to what's happening with respect to the crop. What's the opportunity here? Well, one option would be, let's write a prescription that just simply targets more water to those areas. And then next month, when we get our next image, we do about 1 image a month. When we get our next image, did we improve anything by doing that? Maybe we don't have the water available, so we might just cut that out altogether. If we do have the water, maybe we're going to target it. We also use this for variable rate fertigation. That's something new we're getting into. We don't have a service for that right now. It's going to take a little more technology developed to do it, but this is the basis for what we use to say, well, if I'm going to apply my nitrogen, what's the yield potential at every point in this field? What's the current crop health at every point in this field? And do I need to add a little bit more, a little bit less to optimize my in-season nitrogen application? And that's something I won't get into for this particular discussion, but it's kind of the next step of where we're taking the irrigation piece.